This is Ben Carper. I am a candidate for the South Carolina State Senate in District 6. This is the seat that Dwight Loftus is retiring from, and this election will be decided on June the 11th of 2024. As I have said many times, if you're tired of the swamp in Columbia, stop sending the same people down there. I am a constitutional conservative, and I humbly ask for your vote on June the 11th. That is South Carolina State Senate District 6. The Paris Mountain is right in the heart of the district, and it goes to Travelers Rest and Marietta, and then going east to Taylor's and down to the Greenville east side along Pelham Road. State Park Road, Rutherford Road, Wayne Hampton Boulevard, and US 25 North bypass are the ribs, if you please, of the district, and I humbly ask for your vote. I've just come in from the April 16th Greenville County Council meeting, which in my estimation is a total and a complete sham. The meeting, from the time the chairman called it to order until adjournment, was about 10.5 minutes. That included the time of prayer, pledging to the flags. The whole meeting, the business part of the meeting, probably lasted about 7 minutes. As I mentioned last time, there were no philos on this. In fact, the agenda is a one-page agenda and no philos. Now, it is not my opinion that County Council has turned conservative. It is they have gotten election season religion. And I don't expect any philos to be on the agenda until after the midterm election on June the 11th. And there's a battery of conservatives that are running now against the current incumbents. And all of the incumbents that voted for the tax increase of $24 million this year and again next year, $48 million total. Every one of them are being primaried. Now, that's just kind of an aside. I don't think that Greenville County Council in its current incarnation is any more conservative than it was 6 months ago. I think they have election season religion. I was interviewed a few weeks ago by the American Action Fund and Young Americans for Liberty. They contacted me and saw that I was running for the South Carolina State Senate. This is a group, a very conservative group, and they have some strong libertarian leanings out of Texas. And they have gotten hundreds of state legislators, conservative state legislators, elected across the United States. They've spent something like $150 million, and they concentrate only on state legislatures. And they sent me a questionnaire. I filled that out. Then they invited me to come to Columbia. And Stan Juvalakis, my friend, who is running for the South Carolina House, was also there, along with about 20 other conservative candidates that have filed and are on ballots across the state of South Carolina. And there were several things that were said in that meeting that I found to be extremely interesting. And I'd like to spend about 3 or 4 minutes on this blog discussing them. I was asked in that meeting, why are you running for Senate? And the gentleman went around the room that had interviewed us and asked the other people. They looked at me and said, why are you running for the Senate? And I said, my grandchildren. I'm running for the Senate because of my grandchildren. My children are grown. And we have my daughter-in-law, my son Logan, and his wife Lindsay. We have another grandbaby that'll be here in May. And we have more grandchildren being born, more grandchildren being conceived. And I'm running because of my grandchildren. What kind of state and what kind of country am I going to leave behind when my days are run and I die? What am I going to leave behind for my grandchildren? And that was how I answered, and several others answered in various sundry ways. And the statement was made, what is the real nature of politics. Right now, we are in the election season of politics. But the election season is a very small portion of the whole time of politics. Most of the political season is what is called the legislative season. And again, during election time, everybody gets conservative religion. All the Republicans get conservative religion. And they all talk like Ronald Reagan. But if you look at their voting record, they voted like Jimmy Carter. Now, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. In the race that I'm involved in is a three-way race. But I say without apology, I am the only constitutional conservative, small government, low taxes, limited government man that's running. And you look at the men running against me, and they talk like Ronald Reagan. In fact, they even look like Ronald Reagan or try to look like Ronald Reagan. But you look at the way they vote, and they vote like Jimmy Carter. We have the election season, and we have the legislative season. And the point of me running for the state senate is not to be liked. I'm not going to Columbia to be liked. I'm going to Columbia to get my liberty back, to push back on these state bureaucracies and state agencies that are constantly expanding. And as the state agencies expand, your individual personal liberty contracts. And now you have restrictions. If you have a farm and you have riparian land, running water on that farm, you have lost your liberty in how you can treat the land leading up to that river, how you can plow the land around that, how you can graze your cattle on that piece of property. As government expands, your liberties contract. Politics, and my purpose for going to Columbia, is not to serve the common good. Now, wait a minute, don't get ahead of me. It is not to serve my fellow man. We hear these platitudes, it's cotton candy, unicorns, and pixie dust. But it means nothing. The real nature of politics is the adjudication of power. Literally, it is who rules whom. Who is going to rule whom? I had a gentleman in my office this week that is supporting me, and he made the comment. He said, politics in the Greek language means war without a sword. War without a sword. My purpose for running for the South Carolina Senate in District 6 is to allow the citizenry to push back on these state agencies and to allow the citizenry the adjudication of power. I'm not aiming to quote Donald Trump, but when Mr. Trump made his inauguration speech in January 2017, he made the statement, and it set the deep state on fire. It set the alphabet agencies on fire. He said, today we return the power to the people. We return the power to the people. It really is that simple. Who is going to rule whom? So it is not the art of compromise. It is the art of confrontation. Rush Limbaugh made the comment that he said this is what pushing back looks like, and it's ugly. It's not a pretty thing. You're not there to win friends and influence people. When you start pushing back on DHEC and say, no, we're not in favor of having a health czar controlling our lives. When you push back on the DOT and you say, look, we've paid our taxes, we want our roads fixed. It's as simple as that. We paid our taxes, we want our roads fixed. We paid a gasoline tax. We're not paying any more tax. No, you can take your legislation and throw it in the Saluda River. We paid our taxes. That is what pushing back looks like. And it can get very, very ugly. It is not the art of going down there and making friends and compromising and being a good old boy, but confrontation. You see, the people that are there in the bureaucracies and those that control the House and Senate, they don't want you to know you have any power. They want you to water down your bills. They say, well, now if you'll take this out and that out, water your bill down, then everybody can vote for it. And don't you want everybody You can write home to your people and say, I passed a bipartisan bill. That's not the point. In fact, it is much easier to kill a bill than it is to get one passed. It is the people on the right, it's the conservatives like me, who can win elections that determine where the middle is. As long as we have mushy, unicorn, cotton candy, pixie dust, sweet nothing legislators that are mushy and in the middle, and that's where the right edge is somewhere over here in the mushy middle. The mushy middle moves farther to the left. But whenever you send men, like we have in the House of Representatives, now we have 18 solid conservatives in the House of Representatives. I'd like to see the same thing happen in the South Carolina Senate. And they have moved to the right edge on the Constitution. They've said, no, we're following what's in the Constitution. If it's not in the Constitution, we're not going to do it. And what they have done is they have forced the middle to move back to the right, which makes the entire body more conservative. Now, I've been speaking for 11 minutes and I must stop, but I do want to say one other thing. The statement was made to me the other day that most Republican, quote unquote, mainstream Republican Democrat uniparty legislation is just crap. C-R-A-P. It is nothing more than constructive Republican alternative proposals. I'm not interested in constructive Republican alternative proposals. I'm interested in trying to stop this onslaught of leftism and the growth of the bureaucratic state in Columbia. And I'm interested in reducing the size of government. Reducing the size of government. That means that some people are going to have to go home. Reducing the size of government. And as government gets smaller, your individual liberty, and with that your individual responsibility, becomes greater and greater. I am Ben Carper. I'm a candidate for the South Carolina State Senate in District 6, the Paris Mountain area, Travelers Rest, Marietta, Berea, Taylors, and part of the Greenville East Side. I humbly and respectfully ask for your vote on June the 11th, and I would like to be your senator and represent you and keep you abreast with what is going on and listening to you and hearing what you have to say in the South Carolina Senate. May God bless you until our next blog.